The door exploded inward before dawn, splintering wood and silence alike. Shouts filled the small house. Boots thundered across worn carpet. And in the chaos, an elderly woman cried, out confused, frightened, reaching for the life she had built slowly and gently. Minutes later, she was gone. The men who had stormed the wrong home didn't know that her child would put them on trial in 60 days. Her name was Evelyn Brooks. She had baked bread on Sundays, watered her roses every morning, and believed stubbornly in kindness. Her son Daniel Brooks arrived to the house as the sun lifted, finding police tape fluttering like a cruel ribbon in the breeze. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Daniel stood in the yard, while neighbors whispered in tight circles. The air smelled of dust and cold metal. A detective spoke in careful phrases: mistake, operation, regret. Daniel nodded as if listening, but his mind was elsewhere, replaying the last voicemail his mother had left him the night before. "Don't forget to eat," she'd said. He would never hear her voice again. Inside the house, sunlight cut through the broken door, illuminating frames knocked crooked on the walls. A teacup lay shattered by the sink. Daniel knelt and gathered the pieces, his hands shaking. Grief came in waves, first numbness, then a pressure so heavy it stole his breath. He thought he'd never stand upright again. He was wrong. In the days that followed, the story tried to settle into a headline: botched raid, tragic error. City offered condolences and a quiet settlement. Daniel declined. He read the warrant and found the address wrong by a single digit, requested body cam footage, and heard officers joke on the drive over. He learned the word accountability could feel like a lifeline. At night, Daniel sat at his mother's kitchen table, stacks of documents growing like a wall around him. He remembered Evelyn's patience, how she taught him to speak calmly when anger burned hot. He wrestled with a choice that tore at him: take the money and disappear, or fight and reopen wounds that would never heal. She thought he'd never do this alone, but she was wrong. He found allies where he didn't expect them: a retired judge who knew Evelyn from church, a public defender who stayed late, coffee cooling beside her notes, neighbors who had watched the raid and could not sleep afterward. Their murmurs became statements. Statements became evidence. The city pushed back, deadlines slipped, motions piled up. Daniel's resolve wavered once, late at night, when the house felt too quiet. He stood in the doorway, listening to the creak of old floorboards, and whispered, "I'm tired, Mom." The silence answered. Then he straightened and kept going. On the 60th day, the courthouse buzzed like a held breath. Cameras clustered. The gallery filled. Daniel took his seat, spine straight, palms open on the table. Across the room, uniforms sat rigid, faces set. The judge entered. The room rose. Evidence unfolded with precision. Maps marked in red. Audio played careless laughter, the wrong turn taken anyway. A medical examiner spoke softly about fear and fragile hearts. The crowd shifted, murmurs swelling, then falling to stillness. When Daniel testified, his voice was steady. He spoke of Evelyn's roses, of the broken teacup, of the night she told him to be brave without being cruel. The room felt warmer, as if truth carried heat. The defense argued intent. The prosecution returned to facts. Training, choices, responsibility. The moral question hovered: how much harm could be excused by error? The jury listened. They deliberated. When the verdict came, it was not vengeance. It was clarity. Accountability was ordered. Policies rewritten. Officers disciplined and charged. Training mandated. Civilian review board empowered. It was not enough to bring Evelyn back. It was enough to matter. Outside, sunlight caught dust in the air like small prayers. Daniel stepped down the courthouse steps and felt something loosen in his chest. Grief would remain, but so would purpose. Because justice doesn't erase pain. It gives it meaning. And the house where a door was broken became the place where a voice was finally heard. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Cinematic Whispers for more stories that honor truth and courage. And remember, when silence feels safer, choosing justice can still change the world.